Welcome to the channel. In this video I'll be sharing my experience of switching from Windows to Bazzite on my gaming handheld PC, the Antec Core HS. You can see here in real time the power on boot up process launching straight into Steam. Firstly, this won't be an exact tutorial of how to get Bazzite running on your own handheld. With the array of handheld gaming devices out there and the option to dual boot Windows and Bazzite, I'll just cover my own device. So the best place to start if you're interested in trying this is the Bazzite site. It's well worth it to read over the information here a couple of times to get a good grip of the installation process. There's also a troubleshooting guide with possible errors that may come up, and there's a section on secure boot, which explains that you'll need to disable it initially for the setup. But there are also instructions on how to re-enable it both in Windows and Bazzite if you're dual booting. So again, it's important to read over the info here as well. In my case, I just swapped out the Windows drive with a new, fresh drive to only run Bazzite on it. But you might not be able to or want to do that with your device. So that's where reading through the Bazzite page is essential if you want to replace Windows on your current drive or run a dual boot setup. If you have the Antec Core HS or INEO slide, which is the same handheld, and you want to swap the drive, then I have another video where I strip the device down to the point of replacing the drive. I'll link it at the end of the video. Here you can see the requirements for getting everything ready for installation. I used Belene Etcher to flash a blank USB drive with the Bazzite file, which you can find quite easily from the Bazzite homepage. You can select which device you're planning on installing Bazzite on, and select either the KDE or GNOME version. I used KDE. If you have a dock for your handheld for mouse and keyboard input, or spare USB ports on your handheld, then you can set up your own username and password during installation. If you don't have a physical keyboard attached, then just leave that till later. The rest of the system config is straightforward. Here's the installation screen. I didn't film it at the time as this progress bar was all there was to see for several minutes in my case. The Steam homepage that you boot into is very familiar to PC players, and you can navigate to the library and tab across to see which of your games are SteamOS compatible. The menu is simple to navigate as well. Just a small note that the blue shortcut button by the bottom right of the screen also brings up the menu. It used to bring up the iSpace menu in a Windows setup on this particular handheld. I re-downloaded Persona 5 Royale, and I filmed the first launch of the game to show how it prepares the game for the device. Jumping forward into some gameplay now, where pressing the Quick Settings menu button brings up a few options, one of which being the option to have a performance overlay, which has 4 different levels of detail. It's a little difficult to see with the white on white text, but I'll film the overlay a little closer to get a better view of the numbers. So you can see that it reaches 50 to 60 FPS. This is at 1080p without changing any of the graphics settings, just leaving it on the automatic setting. Switching over now to Metal Gear Solid 5, The Phantom Pain, you can see that the game can run smooth enough to make it fun to play and be a decent visual experience. Although this game is a fair bit harder to run than Persona and drains the battery quite quickly, I still think it's impressive to be able to run the game like this. And here's another closer look at the performance overlay. So overall, I'm very happy with the result of the swap to Bazzite. Being new to any sort of Linux installation process, I was a little worried about something being missing, like drivers for example, but everything worked out well straight away, with the touchscreen, joysticks and built-in keyboard on my handheld working immediately, and I didn't have to download anything extra to get started with gaming, and downloading and launching games was simple. I actually made the switch a couple of months ago, and I've been playing a few different games since to see how well it all works, but I haven't run into any issues yet. That's it for this video. Thanks very much for watching.